we need to do a better job of 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 helping people have the words to explain what it is that they do. So
Right.
they didn't have to make weak comparisons to say, well, it's like a nurse's aide. It's like this, it's like that. Let's actually talk about what it is and help people learn and understand the term.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest installment of the Nick Speaks podcast, the podcast dedicated to the disabled community, where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud about the issues that matter to the disabled the most. I am your host, Nick Comstock. You guys, I am so glad you joined me today on this Tuesday. I hope everyone is doing well. I have a great guest as always, but before I get to her, and her awesome mission that she does for direct support professionals, I want to give a shout out to Columbus Restorative Massage and Wellness Studio, who is sponsoring this podcast. You guys, the holidays are coming up, and I can't think of a better way to celebrate it than going and getting a wonderful massage. And the folks at Columbus Restorative Massage and Wellness Studio have said that they will give 20% off Nick's Speaks viewers and listeners when you register for your next visit online. So visit Columbus Restorative Massage and Wellness Studio. And when you check out, use the promo code Speak Up to get 20% off. You'll be glad you did. And what a better way to celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas and all the major holidays than to feel relaxed and get a great massage from Columbus Restorative Massage and Wellness Studio. So thank you for sponsoring this episode, and go get that massage. Use the code Speak Up at checkout. You guys, today I have a wonderful guest. She's been in the field as a DSP and as a great player and advocate for people with disabilities as well as caregivers for 28 years. And she runs an awesome organization dedicated to supporting our frontline workers known as direct support professionals and caregivers. She is the executive director of OADSP, soon becoming Lighthouse Cove. We're going to talk about that and so much more. Please help me welcome Bethany Toledo McCrae to the program. Bethany, how are you?
Hi, Nick. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Doing
I think I'll
great.
be doing I think I'll be doing a little bit better after I schedule that massage because that sounds amazing.
Yes. Sandy is wonderful. I know her personally, and she also has a podcast called The Restorative Space. So make sure you check that all out as well. And she's fantastic. So yeah, you're gonna have to schedule that.
Yep, I will put that on my to-do list. So, oh, we're getting into the fall months, Nick. I can't believe the holidays are around the corner.
I know it's crazy. 2025 has flew by. I wish it would have. I wish 2020 would have flown by as fast as all the other years, but it feels like 2020 stuck around forever.
Yeah, it really did. It hung on.
so, so Bethany, why don't you tell our folks about a little bit who you are and how you got in the field, and then I'll ask you some questions, and we'll have some fun and some good conversation.
All right, sounds good. So, goodness. Well, Nick, to hear you say that I've been in the field 28 years, oh, that just seems like a really long time. So I think back to how I even got into the field. So I'm going to really date myself and sound like an old fogey. But back in my day, when you were looking for a job, we couldn't just go online to Indeed or, any of the other, great platforms to find a job. We had to open the newspaper. So I lived in Coshocton County at the time, and I saw an ad in the newspaper for a residential care coordinator, which was a fancy title for a direct support professional. And it was for an intermediate care facility in West Lafayette, Ohio. So that was my very first job at the age of 19 working in the field, and it was a field that I didn't know anything about.
Wow. So, did you grow up around people with disabilities? So you just kind of fell into this field then?
I did. I really stumbled into it. We did have some people that had intellectual and developmental disabilities that attended our school, and I would see them during gym class and a few other classes, but not a lot. I really didn't have any direct interaction with people with disabilities.
Wow. So you, along with a couple of my other guests that I've had in the past, really just fell into this field. Did you really think, Bethany, that you were going to spend 28 years in this field?
No, if someone would have asked me back when I was 19 or 20 years old, I would be like, well, this is what I'm doing right now. I don't know what I'll be doing next year or, in 5 years. I really didn't know. Was fortunate to have some really great mentors. And soon after, working a couple years in Coshocton, Ohio, I moved back to my hometown in Muskingum County and started working as a DSP in a group home setting. And I worked a really unique shift. I worked a 2.5 day live in shift where I would go to work on Saturday night and I would get off work on Tuesday morning. And I really raised my family working that shift. I had 3 children and it really fit into my lifestyle. And I really loved what I was doing. I worked in a home where 5 ladies lived. And then an opportunity came up to put in for a new job at our organization as the program director. And I applied for that job. I had always been one that had lots of ideas, and it was an opportunity to put a lot of those ideas into play and to really give the DSPs a voice, as someone that used to be a DSP.
Yeah, sure. So you said a little while back that you started off in an intermediate care facility. Can you give a little background to what that is? Because some of our viewers and listeners may not know the difference between an intermediate care facility versus a group home setting.
Sure. So an intermediate care facility typically is a place where someone that has higher needs, maybe higher medical needs, they have 24-hour nursing available. And it is, I can compare that to maybe like a nursing home for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Yeah, but it's a smaller setting depending on the care facility, right? It's not.
It depends. The intermediate care facility I worked in had 32 people that lived in the intermediate care facility. I've seen very small ICFs, that have like 6 or 8 beds. So yeah, there's a variety of settings.
Sure, sure. And which one did you prefer working in? I mean, I'm sure you love them both, but versus.
I did. So there were, great things about both. I would say I loved working in the group home setting a little more because I had a very routine schedule. And so, for anyone, schedules are important. So for myself, for my family, and for the people that I supported, we had 3 main staff that rotated through the house, and we were able to provide a really um consistent support to the people that lived there.
That's awesome. So, now there's a lot of talk about staff shortage. That's been a talk for at least for the last 10 years since I've been in the state of Ohio. Um, Back during that time, was there a lot of talk about staff shortage and how did they handle that if there was?
So when I worked as a DSP, I wasn't as aware of what the shortages were as I started working as a program director and then got involved with OADSP is really when I realized that we were not only currently in a shortage, the last 28 years that I've been in the field, but that it was going to get worse because baby boomers were going to retire. There are the rates of people being diagnosed with a disability are a lot higher. And when I got involved with OADSP, it was probably about 16 years ago. I got about involved just as a volunteer, and that's when I really started to learn about the whole picture and started working alongside other people with OADSP. to really elevate the direct support professional and educate people about what a DSP was so that they might choose that as a career option.
Yeah. I think you and I saw the same episode of The Price is Right. That's about to go into where a DSP got on stage and she won, and Drew Carey kept asking, "What is DSP?" Because he had no idea, and she tried to explain it, and he was just kind of dumbfounding as to what a DSP was. It was very interesting. It meant that we needed to get our faces out there more, obviously.
Yeah. Yep. I remember seeing that episode and thinking that we need to do a better job of 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 helping people have the words to explain what it is that they do. So
Right.
they didn't have to make weak comparisons to say, well, it's like a nurse's aide. It's like this, it's like that. Let's actually talk about what it is and help people learn and understand the term.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I say a DSP is a fancier way of saying caregiver, but I think the way that you started out saying it, which was the coordinator and all that type of stuff, I think a DSP is a lot more simpler uh,
It
than
is. Yeah.
than that. Because I'm even you told me like 30 seconds ago, and I'm trying to remember what you said. So
Right, right. And what, what, you know, the words that go along with the role are so important. And, people know what a nurse's aide is. People know what an RN is, in the nursing world. So, I think it's part of our job to help educate people about what a direct support professional is and to use the term so they get used to it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, 100%. Well, as I said in the beginning of the program, and you guys were about to have a PowerPoint. So if you're listening by Apple or Spotify, make sure you go to my YouTube channel at the Nick Speaks podcast and watch this because we're going into a PowerPoint. So I want you to be able to see what we're seeing on screen. So, as I said at the beginning of the show, you are the executive director of OADSP. So, we've talked about it a little bit, but why don't you tell us maybe a little bit of the history of OADSP and why it was started and how you got involved with it?
Sure. And as I do that, I'll bring up the slides that you were referring to.
Yeah.
Right there in the center of it is our logo, OADSP. It's an acronym. We have lots and lots of acronyms in our field. OADSP stands for the Ohio Alliance of Direct Support Professionals. And OADSP was formed as a 501(c)(3) nonprofit back in the early 2000s. And before it became a nonprofit, it was actually created as a work group of providers and other interested parties that were concerned about the future of the DSP workforce. So, like we talked about, Nick, 10 years ago when you came to Ohio, even, 28 years ago when I started in the field, there were issues with staffing. There were a lot of studies coming out from the University of Minnesota's Research and Training Center saying that the staffing crisis was going to get worse. And so a group of committed people in Ohio started meeting and talking about what they were going to do about it, what they could do about it. And so what they decided to do was to create a credentialing program for direct support professionals to help them elevate their skills through education. And that is what is known as the DSPAS credentialing program today.
Hmm.
And so that's how we got started. We had a very committed board of directors that helped write curriculum. They also started the annual DSP recognition event. And that event is held every September. I know you've even been a speaker at it in the past.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. So if you're a DSP in Ohio or are even other people outside of the state, welcome, Bethany.
Sure, we have on occasion had some guests come from out of the state as well, just to kind of see what we're up to.
So yeah, if you're in the state of Ohio, most definitely come to the OADSP event. It is a lot of fun. There's all kinds of candy and I'm all about food. So That's how I'm gonna rate events.
Yes, yeah, we love our food as well. We have a great group of committed direct support professionals and frontline supervisors that make up the OADSP Council. So that's a group of people who are volunteers. They work for providers all across the state, and they're committed to keeping their fingers on the pulse of their field and helping OADSP understand what they need. As I said, I used to be a direct support professional. But the challenges that today's DSPs have are different than the challenges that I had, 5, 10, 15, 20 some years ago. And they help us put on our annual DSP recognition event, as well as our annual summit, which is a 1-day conference held every spring for DSPs and frontline supervisors.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So here on the screen are some different logos for programs that we've developed over the years. I already mentioned the DS Pass credentialing program. In addition to that, we also have a frontline supervisor credentialing program. We have a program called Leadership Launchpad, and that is a 3-day leadership retreat that is designed to meet leaders of all levels wherever they are on their journey. I know, Nick, you and I have talked about this before. Leadership Launchpad is title free. So it doesn't matter what your title is. When you come to Leadership Launchpad, your title is leader for those 3 days. You'll work alongside of direct support professionals, frontline supervisors, agency CEOs. We've had people from the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities participate, as well as people from other groups related to IDD. It's one of my favorite things. We are in our 11th year now, and we typically host 2 to 3 leadership launch pads a year. So we have hundreds of graduates over the years, excuse me. And nothing pleases me more than to see a graduate out and about doing their thing. And, we might have met them 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And, they tell us how inspired they were through Leadership Launchpad.
That's awesome. So it's basically, and Bethany, you and I just went through this, and I'm kind of comparing it. It's basically like a synergy for caregivers. Would you say?
It kind of in a way there is, yeah, because it doesn't matter what your title or role is in the field. And, leaders aren't trained, leaders are developed. And regardless of how long you've been in the field, we all have room to grow. So yeah, it's a place that people can come and learn alongside of each other, very similar to Synergy. And for people that don't know, Synergy is a 2.5-day conference held every fall. For the last several years, we've been in the Sandusky area, and that's where Nick and I ran into each other again a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a lot of fun, and the food again. Oh my god,
Amazing. You love the food.
is
Well, I'll tell you, it's a group effort. Synergy is actually put on by 4 nonprofit organizations. So OADSP is one of the partners for it, as is Ohio Self-Determination Association, PAR, which stands for Professionals, Advocates, and Resources, and People First of Ohio. So we work together all year long to make that conference happen.
yeah, it was great. The carrot cake was, oh my god, second to none. But this is why I'm fat, people. I love my food. Anyway, I have to get off of that. So you have the 3-day launch pad, and I've never been to Leadership Launchpad. I haven't been to one yet. So is it's also learning, but is it also a lot of fun too?
It is, I would say that the fun is in the learning because it's a pretty packed schedule. Usually people are a little overwhelmed when they come and they see the schedule. But we do embed a lot of fun in there. We have some group projects and, people get to hear and learn about organizations from all over the state.
Oh, cool beans.
Yep. One other program that we have that I absolutely I love, and I know Nick, you've heard about this program before. It's called DSPU, and that is our educational program that primarily focuses on high school seniors. It also is a program that can be used for adult learners in a career, in a career pathway setting as well. But the majority of people that participate in DSPU are high school seniors. And it's a program that marries our DSPAS credentialing program and an internship component. So people take their classes during their high school, daytime, and then they also go out to sites 3 to 4 times a week, and they do an internship. They get to actually work with people with disabilities. They create projects and work on things to help people meet their goals. And when they graduate high school, they have two credentials. They actually have a credential from OADSP or a certificate of initial proficiency. And then they also have their National Alliance of Direct Support Professional NADSP1 certification.
Awesome. Now, actually, I don't know if I've ever heard of that program, but that's yeah, that's great. So you're preparing the next generation to go be a caregiver if that's what they want to do.
Right. And even, there are people that, decide they're going to go to college. It's a great job to be a direct support professional as you're, getting all of your college classes done. And regardless of what people end up doing with their life and their career, the experience that they get in DSPU is really invaluable. It really helps them understand, other people that are in their communities.
That's awesome. That is wow. I need to do some more. I need to do some work with that program because if I can encourage younger people to get in this field, because younger people is what we need. Because, like you said, the baby boomer generation is retiring, and the younger we can get them in and train them really well, the better.
Yep,
So, yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. So I wanted to share a few highlights of some of the major programs that OADSP has before we talk more about who OADSP is becoming. So on the next slide, is a big word cloud. And we spent nearly 2 years having conversations with people that have participated in our programs, people that support us in one way or another to learn what our programs and support mean to them. And so over the course of that 2 years, there were some words that came up again and again: leadership, support, wayfinder, innovation, safety. People said they felt like we created a safe space so that when they attended our events, whether it was a 1 day event or a 2 day event, whatever the case is, they felt like they were safe from the storm of whatever was going on outside, and they had a chance to pause and really learn and invest in themselves. So we took all of this information and we worked with a work group, and we came up with some options, and then we narrowed it down to one name. And so up here on the screen is a short little, I think it's like a 4-second video that's going to show you the transformation OADSP is in the process of right now. So for those of you that are just listening and didn't get to see the screen, you'll have to go and check it out on Nick's YouTube page. But we had our OADSP logo kind of comes apart and it looks like a big old paint splatter of all the colors. And then they came back in together to create our new name and logo, which is Lighthouse Cove, a community of practice for IDD professionals.
Wow. That is, and I loved the paint splatter. Whoever came up with that idea is genius. I love that. Um, that's awesome. So why don't you talk about why the name change and why you're going through the process of that?
Yes, absolutely. So I just moved on to the last slide, which shows the Lighthouse Cove logo in the middle, and this same programs that we just talked about are all around that logo. Those programs aren't changing, the logos aren't changing, our colors aren't even changing. It really is our name and just our main logo. And the reason for the change is that over the years we have expanded to support people other than direct support professionals. So we support DSPs, of course. We support frontline supervisors through our leadership programs. We have had participation from county boards, C-suite leaders as well. So our new name really reflects this broader audience that we support. Our name in and of itself kind of pigeonholes us. So if you are, say you're an SSA, and you're looking for a leadership program, you might start Googling it, and you might not come across our name because our name is the Ohio Alliance of Direct Support Professionals. And even if you do come across it, you might think, oh, goodness, well, this organization is only here to support DSPs. And so our name was starting to hold us back. And so the reason for the name change is so that people can find us in the support that they need, regardless of what their role is in the IDD field.
That's awesome. So, being that you guys are in Ohio, is this name change in hopes of maybe starting other branches of Lighthouse Cove across the country?
That would be great. I would say right now we are really focusing on Ohio. That said, we do have people outside of Ohio that use our programs. So we have people that use our programs for the high school program for DSPU, as well as the credentialing program and leadership launchpad. I also do a fair amount of consulting work with people outside of Ohio. So yes, the name change will definitely impact them as well, because as people outside of Ohio are looking for answers to the same things we've been working on for the last several years, they'll be able to find us and perhaps learn about, a program or multiple programs that could help support them in their states. And so
Yeah.
if that yeah, yeah. So if down the road that leads to having other branches or just, a larger base for Lighthouse Cove, then absolutely.
Yeah, that's really I'm really looking forward to seeing your expansion through Lighthouse Cove and what you guys are going to be able to do. So what type of programs? I know we've talked about it a little bit, but what type of out of all your programs, what has been the most successful for the DSPs that have taken advantage of it? What have they said? Wow, this program has really helped me do this and such, or
So I think it's a balance of programs and then support. So I like to describe us as a safety net outside of a person's organization, if they work for an organization, or just an outside layer of support outside of a county board, if someone's an independent provider, to provide them with resources, trainings, and tools that they need to do their job and do it well. So, some of our programs have no cost associated with them whatsoever. On the screen, you can see there's one circle and it says ABC in it. It's kind of a
Yeah.
play on another acronym. It stands for Annual Booster Campaign. So every year we have a booster campaign to raise funds, and those funds help make the DSP event that we talked about earlier absolutely free. So that's a free event that includes lunch and entertainment, usually some pretty good swag as well. We also use funding from our booster campaign to reduce the cost of other programs. So our annual summit that we have every May, usually the cost of the summit is anywhere from $35 to $50 a person. And, so we use all of the funds that we raise to make our programs really accessible. We find that some people get a lot of inspiration out of attending an event, whether it's a free event or the low cost summit, while other people use things like our website. We have a platform on our website called OADSP TV Plus, and it houses a lot of media. So we actually have a podcast there. I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to any of the episodes, Nick, but if not, I'll send you over there. It's called The Direct Line. And that's an opportunity for DSPs and other people in the field to hear directly from a variety of sources. We have had interviews with people from other associations, other direct support professionals, people receiving services. We've talked to legislators before. In January, we're getting ready to launch a series of financial fitness podcast series to
Yeah.
help people manage their finances. That's something that DSPs tell us that they struggle with, and they would love to have some more knowledge and support. So I know I kind of went all over the place answering your question, but it kind of depends.
This
Um,
is
yeah.
great. Yeah, this is awesome. Um, do you guys, I know this might sound kind of weird, but do you guys have like a hotline, or have you thought of developing a hotline for DSPs to call that they can say, look, I'm burnt out. Maybe I need a little bit of encouragement or something. Or have you guys thought about that? Maybe.
Haven't. But maybe what we could create is something that's it, it may be a hotline of sorts that's more of a like an advice type column, and maybe we could answer people on our podcast. Like where people could send in questions or scenarios, And then, we could, we might have some advice ourselves, but really maybe we could find some experts to help them with some of the challenges that they're having. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, just because, I feel like a lot of DSPs after they've been doing this for a while are just um burnt out. And then, because it's stressful. I like to say that you know, DSPs are becoming vice presidents of sorts of other people's lives, and they're helping them juggle their life as well as their own. And it's kind of like it kind of intertwines. And when you're trying to help run two lives at the same time, it gets very stressful.
Yep.
Uh, one of the things I like about on the word cloud that I saw was something about you said safety and creating a safe space. I was in a training not too long ago, and we talked about safety and having a safe space. And my primary caregiver was with me. And I said, my primary caregiver is my, safe space because I can really tell them what I'm going through, and they see me at my best and my worst. And that's what I hope that a lot of caregivers become for a lot of clients, because I say it all the time. Uh, a lot of caregivers will become their client's only family, unfortunately, because either families passed away or they just don't have the ability to take care of them like they used to, or they just don't care, sadly. Um, so yeah, that really spoke to me a lot about having the safety.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that, something we, through a lot of our programs and stuff that we really help educate DSPs on is helping people that they support create those safety networks so that they aren't the sole person. And I give this advice to even my very best friends. Like, we should never be dependent on one person to meet all of our needs. So that is something that's really important to me, is to help people develop those networks.
Building those community, and that's what I'm trying to do through Nick Speaks and this podcast, is building that safe space and that community of different people. And that's why I'm so glad I've gotten to meet several different people through podcasting and you, because you're right. We all need a community of some sort. And I really believe that people with disabilities need them because we struggle with isolation. And yeah, so that's very, 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 very important.
All right. And there was, I didn't put anything up on the slides about this, but I do want to mention it because we're getting into, the cooler months in Ohio. One of my favorite things that we do every winter is we have a series called Beat the Winter Blues. And we typically put
I saw that.
together, yeah, we put together a toolkit that has different activities and things in it, along with links to other things we've developed in the past, um, to help people just overcome kind of, the dreary winters where you can't get out as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and along with that, we always have one in person event. And so coming up at the end of February, the event that we have is actually at Kalahari, which is where the Synergy conference was. And it is a Beat the Winter Blues getaway, and anyone can take advantage of it. I'll just encourage people to check back. We'll open registration for it in December on our website. It is a 2-night, 3-day stay at Kalahari. And we have DSPs that have come and brought their families. Some providers have sent DSPs and the people that they support. We had one DSP family. There was a mother and a daughter, and they came and they made it a family reunion. They had over 20 family members come. And so it is an event that you can make it what you want, because what we do is facilitate the great rates, and we book through our organization, and then you just get to come and have fun.
That's awesome. That's an awesome event. I also want to talk about an event that I saw that is taking place on December 31st that you guys are hosting. The Jammin' DSP event. Did I say that right?
Yeah, jamming for DSPs.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So we started that event, gosh, probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. And we typically have it in the summertime, kind of in the middle of the summer. And we preview what we're going to be doing at our DSP recognition event. And this year we're flipping the script because not only are we getting together to jam for DSPs, we're also counting down to Lighthouse Cove because we will flip that switch at midnight. So we are hosting a New Year's Eve edition of Jamming for DSPs, and that's being held at the Embassy Suites in Dublin, Ohio. And we have tickets on sale now. It might be up on the website today. It might be another couple days before it gets up there, but just check our calendar and click on December 31st. And there's two types of tickets that people can purchase. You can purchase a ticket that includes dinner. So you can come and have dinner with us on New Year's Eve. Dinner, I think, is at 6:30. We'll have a short program during dinner just to help talk about and unveil, the Lighthouse Cove branding. And then at 8 o'clock, we have live music with Session 5. That's a really popular Columbus area cover band, along with Zane Harshaw and some other special guests that will just be jamming out all night long. So we'll be having fun. We have some raffle baskets that we'll be raffling off. But it's really a celebration and a countdown to Lighthouse Cove.
Yeah, I saw that and I was gonna call you and be like, can I go to that? I want to go and have fun. So I'm gonna check into that and hopefully I can make it because it looked like a lot of fun. Because I had never heard that event until I read that in the article that you sent me. It had said below it had the Jammin' DSP event. Yeah, or Jammin' 4 DSPs. I kept saying the wrong thing, but I was like, oh, I need to ask her about that.
Yeah, yeah. So again, we have two ticket types. So it's $75 for your ticket that includes dinner, or you can buy a party only ticket. That ticket is $25.26 because we're in 2025 and we're ringing in the new year in 2026. That ticket is good at 8 p.m. So you can come at 8 o'clock and just hang out and party with us too. So people have those two options. And we have a really great hotel block from the hotel room from the hotel as well, Embassy Suites. Our hotel block is $109 plus tax. So if people want to travel in and get a hotel room for the night, you'll be in one safe bubble. Everything will be happening right there at the Embassy Suites in Dublin.
And that's $109 for that night.
Yeah,
Wow.
for the hotel rate. And so we have a link for people to be able to book the hotel because they have to book that on their own. And then they get the tickets for us. And yep, the party's happening in one of the big ballrooms, and we're looking forward to it.
So does that $109 rate, I'm just curious for my purpose, does that $109 rate include like an ADA room as well?
I believe it is any type of room. So there's a number you can book online, but then there's a phone number you can call. So I would suggest calling to make sure you get the room type that you want. But yes, any room type. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'm definitely gonna check that out because yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Um, well, this has been so much fun. So, any lasting advice, Bethany, for maybe those that are coming into the field for the first time, or maybe those that are burnout?
Goodness. Well, I would say for both anyone coming into the field new and for anyone starting to feel burnout, I would say take a deep breath and look around and find some resources to support you. Check out our website, oadsp.org, see if we have an upcoming event or anything that interests you. Also, talk with your employer and talk about your hopes and dreams. I didn't have anyone sit down with me at the beginning of my career and just say, hey, this is what the IDD ecosystem looks like. There's all of these opportunities, there's different environments. I didn't know any of that. So I would suggest that people, look for a mentor and also just be curious and explore. Just because one certain position or setting doesn't work for you doesn't mean that there's not another that you wouldn't thrive in.
Right, right. there's all kinds of different, there's many fields inside the one big field of DSP. And if one doesn't fit you, there's going to be something that does, because they need staffing from day programs to direct care to residential care. Well, that's kind of in the same thing, but you get the drift. So there's many fields inside of the one big. I don't know if I should call it a diamond, or do we want to call it a diamond in the rough? Maybe. So yeah, there's many options, and I would encourage you to check out all the options as far as you want to, uh, when it pertains to becoming a DSP. And definitely, if you're a senior in high school, I would check out DSPU. I will be working more with Bethany on that, because that's actually the first time I found out about that program today. So I'll be talking with her about that some more, definitely, as time gets closer and we can make time in our schedules. But I just want to thank you so much for coming on, Bethany. This has been great.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. It's been a great conversation.
Absolutely. And for those of you who want to learn more about OADSP, we're going to have Bethany's website, a way to contact her, a way to contact the folks at OADSP, soon to be Lighthouse Cove. So that's all going to be in the show notes. Be sure to check that out. And everything as far as, the Jam and DSPs, we'll put all that in the show notes as well. That sounds like a lot of fun. I think that's the Christmas gift I'm going to give myself this
All right.
year. Yeah, come hang out at Embassy Suites, and hey, Embassy Suites, if you want to sponsor me. Uh, but yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. So I'll definitely do that. When is the best time to purchase tickets? You think? You don't want to do it the last minute.
No, you don't want to do it last minute. And also, I know the room block is only good until December 3rd. So unless we are lucky enough to get an extension, which I will ask them for, but I'm not sure if we'll get it. But the hotel rooms have to be booked by December 3rd.
Okay. Okay. Cool. That's good to know. Thanks for that. Little commercial. I don't know. I'm having some trouble getting my words together here a little bit, but that's okay. I guess that happens even when you speak for a living. So there you go. But you guys, it's been great. Bethany, thank you so much. This is the Nick Speaks podcast, the podcast dedicated to folks with disabilities, where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud about the issues that matter to the disabled the most. I am your host, Nick Comstock. Thank you for joining me on this Tuesday, and thanks again to Columbus Restorative Massage and Wellness Studio for sponsoring this episode. And make sure you use the code SPEAKUP at checkout to get your 20% off. Thanks again for joining me, Bethany, and we'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.